hater is defined as a person who actively and aggressively criticizes something or someone, aka these books that I didn't like this year. I am going to be talking about my worst reads of the year, and I cannot say that my taste in books is solely regarded for the most amazing pieces of literature. Like, I'm not just looking for life-changing, beautiful, breathtaking novels. I also enjoy a comfort read. I also enjoy a silly romance. But sometimes they're not silly. Sometimes they take themselves too seriously and it's not good. And I'm going to be talking about some books that I did not like this year. This year I read the Plated Prisoner series, so that includes Gild, Glint, Gleam, Glow. Sorry, I read the first 4 out of 6 books. And let me tell you, when I say nothing happens, I mean it. Nothing happens. I think it's in the second book. They travel from one castle to another on horseback, and I swear there are about 12 chapters where the main character is just looking out into the snow and is talking about how nice the snow is. And then she talks to one of the guards and has a conversation with the guards, and then there's snowflakes. You know, like, it just, for this like fantasy series, supposed to be action-packed, there was not enough action. There was not enough plot. And there was one scene where, this is kind of a spoiler, but the main male character, who is Fae, and then the female main character, who also is revealed to be Fae, she, like, her Fae nature comes out and she becomes this like sexual demon. I thought I was reading the wrong book. Like, I was like, what is this? I don't know. I didn't like it. Not enough happened in the series. And then this sexual demon came out and I was like, okay, putting them down, and I'm not reading them. I still read through 4. So obviously something's wrong with me, but I still read through 4, but I will not be finishing the series. I also read Wild Love by Elsie Silver this year, and talk about plain Jane and plain John in a plain story, you know? Like, this is like the equivalent of boiled chicken with no salt and pepper. And also, like, what is up with these billionaire tropes? Society has this like hatred towards billionaires because they ruin everything, but then in romances it's like the ideal love interest and it's a huge trope. I don't get that. My romances have to be at least like centered on the earth. Like, they have to be realistic in some way, and having it be a billionaire romance is not realistic. Nobody is falling in love with Elon Musk like that. You know what I mean? Anyways, this Wild Love, I think the characters were boring. Like, they didn't have that much personality. They didn't have that much backbone. It was a very predictable plot. Like, there's no real turmoil in the relationship. There's no real fight for each other. And on top of that, since I read this book really recently, actually, Elsie Silver said some unfortunate things about people of color, and I will just not be picking up her next books. I have a very similar review for Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, but I will say that I did read the other books in that series, the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and I enjoyed the other ones much more. I just found that the first one, again, was like stereotypical female character, stereotypical male character, and they fall in love and like nothing goes wrong. They just like live happily ever after. And that's just not realistic. Like there's no conflict, there's no inner turmoil. It didn't feel like there was real bonding, like real love, real bonding, 2 childhood friends getting back together. Where's the glue that binds them together? I also read On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and I cannot say that this is like a bad book. So I'm going to put that out there. I just found it such a slog to get through. It is supposed to be about adventure. It's about these guys who go on the road and they go where the wind takes them. This is a fairly highly regarded book. The general premise of it being on the road and it being about adventure drew me in as somebody who loves to go camping, as who loves to go exploring. But it just never evolved from there. Like, there was never a level of critical analysis, and there's no, like, it was just that. It never got bigger than that. The main character, Sal, and his friends were just always seeking adventure. And for the most part, they're kind of just these like sleazy guys trying to run away from any type of responsibility. At one point, one of Sal's friends, they meet up a couple years later, and this guy has a wife and kid, and he just like leaves the wife and kid to go on the road again, where they always just end up like drinking and meeting girls and complaining about sitting down for so long. The premise was interesting, and he does say some interesting things in it, but after 200 pages of somebody describing sitting in a car seat, sweaty parties, drinking, it just started to turn into a slog where everything was beat over your head over and over again. I have read reviews about this book, and a lot of people say that it needs to be taken in the context that it was written. So it was written right after World War II, in a time where young people were searching for meaning, they were questioning authorities, they wanted to do like disruptive things. So in that regard, I can give it more credit, but it was just a slog to get through. Also read 2 Japanese fiction books that I like, again, I can't say that these are bad books. They just were not good to me. I read Days at the Morisaki Bookshop and Before the Coffee Gets Cold. These almost felt like children books to me, but they're not. They're adult books. It felt like they skimmed the surface of any true meaning. The characters were fairly plain and simple. Days at the Morisaki Bookshop is a light, breezy read evoking fuzzy kind of Japanese town imagery. It follows a girl who loses her boyfriend and she quits her job, and then she moves into her uncle's bookshop in this small town, and she kind of goes back to her roots. It's like she wakes up and she's like, oh, consumerism is bad. I miss people. Like, I'm sorry, that's mean, but it just felt very like there could be a lot to say in this story, but it just wasn't said. And then Before the Coffee Gets Cold is very similar. It is about time traveling and second chances. There's a lot of moving things that happen in the book and a lot of moving stories that you read about. It just, like, you got this much of it. The potential was up there, but you got this much of it, you know? The final book that I didn't like this year is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Unfortunately, I really enjoyed her other books, but this one just gave me the ick. I found that the characters, like, they didn't have any type of relationship. I found their dirty talk to be really bizarre and uncomfortable. Where this book is set, I have been there before and I've lived there before, and it really takes you out of a romance when this romantic, picturesque place where the book is set, when you've been there before and when you've lived there, because you know that that's not true. And you know that some of these towns that they mention, they're supposed to be super cute. You're like, that is where all the drug addicts live. And that is, there's a lot of, there's poop on the road there, you know, like, but it's this super romantic place. And you're like, but there's a lot of poverty here. And I don't want to be biased against this book because of that, but it did really take away from the reading experience. I read 58 books this year, so to dislike 6, I don't think that's so bad. And again, I will say that I don't even think any of these books were just bad. Like, I think that's a poor description. There is just something about them that lacked for me. I want to say that this is not about the author. This is about the book itself. We can all have critiques on books. That doesn't determine the value of the book itself. If you guys also read these books and had thoughts about them, let me know in the comments. If you want other romance or classic literature recommendations, make sure you follow my channel, and thanks for watching.